Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you what books I read in 2024. I've got my stack of books over here. Yeah, it's not many because I'm a very slow reader. So, yeah, but anyways, if you see like a weird shadow effect on my face, it's because I don't have much lighting in my room. I have my light on the roof, and then I have, from the fan, and then I have my light here, which kind of makes it look a bit weird, but I'm trying my best, okay? I'm trying my best. Anyways, we'll get started. The first book I have is The Cruel Prince. I think it's going to be backwards based on what I'm looking at right now. Anyway, the first book, it's not the first book that I read this year, last year. But yeah, they're not in any order, by the way. So, The Cruel Prince is about a human girl who lives in the world of fairy, and she ends up wanting to be a knight, I think it was. But some things go down and she doesn't end on that path. I've also read the second book, but it wasn't last year. So sometimes the things get confused a little bit. I would say that this was a good-ish book. That it is a good book to read, in my opinion, but it is a very slow book. The first chunk of it was world building and getting to know the characters and just all of that stuff. So yeah, and when you look at BookTok and you see people going crazy about this one, they're like, oh my gosh, it's enemies to lovers, it's enemies to lovers. No, it's not a love story. It's basically a political sort of thing, but the politics in fairy and her trying to make her way around life. It's not about the love. There is a subplot with Jude, the main character, and one of the guys, but the love story is not a main plot, it's a subplot. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to go into this thinking it's a love story, which I wasn't. But I've already done a review of it in another video, so you can go and look at that one. I don't know why I pointed behind me. Hola, niño! It's not behind me. Anyways, moving on. This one is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This one, it's not particular. I don't know if it's a BookTok book or not, but I did. I don't know how I discovered it. I think I just saw it on TikTok, or I saw it in the store, and I'm like, oh, I want to know more about that. So I did search it up further on TikTok, and there was mixed opinions on it. I don't know, some people were like, oh my gosh, it's the best book that they've ever read, or something like that, and others were like, I was disappointed and the writing is good. So it's up to you to decide whether you like it or not. Personally, I did like it, but I feel like I got a bit disappointed at the end because I thought it was going to be a bit more dramatic, just because I had looked up what happened. I don't know if I meant to discover what happened or not. I can't remember, but I did. And I feel like having the spoiler for what happens made it less fun to read in the end. Also, forgot to mention, Heartless is about, it's like the backstory to the Queen of Hearts. It's about Catherine, who wants to one day own a bakery with her friend, and they try to, talk to her parents about it and all that. And then she meets Jest, the court joker of hearts, the new court joker, and basically falls in love, and all these different things happen. Now this one, I feel, is more of a romantasy type of thing. It's centered around her life and her wanting to be a baker, but it's like, while she's doing that, she is like falling in love and stuff. So I think this is more your style if you like the love story. That one, it was good. I enjoyed reading it. Girl in Pieces. Now, this one, compared to all the rest of the books that I've read last year, is quite different, as you can see from the cover of the book. This one was good. I enjoyed it. It was different. Like, the style of writing in it was different. There's no chapters. It's written like a diary. If you don't want spoilers, don't read those pages. I don't know what was in it. But yeah, set from first person, of a girl, I think her name was Charlie. Don't quote me on that. And she kind of just goes by trying to figure out her life after having terrible traumas. And the end of the book doesn't really have a fully resolved point. Like, it ends on like, it's like an open end. Like, you have to imagine kind of what happens next. I will be honest, it's not my favorite book, but I did enjoy it. And I do think that if you like sad books, you will like this. I want to read more of Kathleen Glasgow's books, because I did enjoy it. And yeah, that's that one. This one is different to basically all of the books that I've read. Every single one of the books is different to this one. The main reason is this one is not young adult. If you know if you know this book, you know this book. Wretched by, I don't actually know how to pronounce her last name, I'm sorry. It's kind of like, I'm trying to think. This book is like a sort of fairy tale brought into real life sort of thing, is how to kind of explain it. The character, this one's based off of, I think, Wizard of Oz, and basically what it is the main character, I think her name was Evelina, and the other character, Nicholas, they are basically enemies because she works for a group of people that sell stuff, and he works for the police. Like, I think he said he's a DEA agent. That brought out the Aussie accent so much. Anyways, so yeah, and they like meet each other. They don't realize they met each other earlier, and then they meet each other again, and kind of slowly fall in love. At the beginning, he was like tricking her into being like in love with her, but he ends up falling for her afterwards. So she falls first, and then he falls harder, basically. I know that technically this book was actually really easy to read. I'm not gonna lie. It is simple. This one is like, wow, that was a light read, you know? It's not a light read in general, I don't think, but for me it was kind of like I can just breeze through this book. Like, I can read this in a couple of days. And the words in it, if you look in the book, the words in it are like, they're bigger words. Every other book that I've read, some of them have tiny, tiny words, some of them have like, it's the font. And I like when the books have the bigger font, because usually the chapters are normal length, but when they have the smaller font, the chapters go on forever and ever and ever. And that was one of the problems I had and I still have with the Folk of Air series, is the words are so small. This one has the bigger font. This one has normal chapters that actually feel like you're not reading 2 chapters in one. You feel like you're actually reading 1 chapter. So I end up reading 3 chapters. I feel like I would read more of her books. I have heard that some of the first few ones aren't as good as the last few ones. But yeah. If you're into like dark romance, but you're not like a Haunting Adeline type of person, this is for you. These books are for you, okay? Because they are dark romance, but they're like a light read dark romance. I don't know. It's just, yeah. So the next ones that I have are series. I have read the whole series. I've read, except for, I think it was Killjoy. I haven't read that one because I just don't feel like it. It's a Good Girls Guide series. And this one, what's this one? This one's the first book, and this one's the second book. I didn't actually read the first book last year. I read it in 2023, I'm pretty sure. I read this one in December of 2023, and actually, really, was it December? Yeah, I finished reading it December. So technically this one doesn't count, but yeah. But I read these 2 last year. These ones, I adore this series. Like, if I didn't have a million books to read, a million more books that I want to read, I would be reading this series over and over and over again. I'm not even joking. Like, I'm gonna be honest. The books, they're not 5 stars, okay? They're young adult. They're like, I don't know if it's the author's first book series, but I'm not sure. But the series in total is a 5 stars. Like, I can't explain to you. I cannot explain to you. You've either not read this or you love them. Okay. The first book, I have done a review on my channel of the first book. And that one is they're all about Pippa Fitzonobi. A girl living in a small town that seems to have a lot of trouble. Don't know why it has that much trouble, but it just seems to. But we're talking about these two today. So, the second book, she kind of looks for, I think she's looking for someone that one of her friends' brothers. Yeah, this one, I feel like out of all of them, this one I would give the least amount of stars, but it has the best plot twist. Okay, like it has the best like plot twist at the end. I'm not even kidding. The last you don't want to know what I do to be able to reread this series again, especially the last few pages of this book, the plot twist of this book. It's so good. It's so good. But yeah, this, and after she's looking for her friend, she discovers that someone's catfishing them, and they were catfishing them, and it leads her to discover some other weird things going on in the town of Little Kilton. Yes, it's the UK version. It's the UK version. I don't really want to read the US version. I love the UK version. I've heard that the US version kind of leaves out Pippa's uniqueness for some reason, because they cut out some stuff, which I'm glad that I got the UK version. I'm glad. I'm pretty sure where I live, like the country that I live in, most of the books that we have are the UK version, unless you look specifically or order online or something. I think some may be the US version, but I think a lot of them are the UK version. Which brings me to this chunky one. This one, I may be sensitive, okay? I may be sensitive. But once I got to the middle of this book, it scared me. It honestly scared me. In this book, Pippa has gone through so much from the last 2 books, it's not even funny. So she has some issues in the first half of the book. This one's in 2 parts. Oh, this one's in 2 parts, by the way. Yes, I've got a cracked spine. I couldn't read it without doing that. It's a chunky book. Don't judge me. Where on earth is this? I'll find it. Hang on. Ugh. I need something to cover this up. Hang on. Okay. See, 2 parts. Anyway, just believe me. In the first half of this book, she's like not okay, and she's kind of being stalked, and she's like, oh, am I being stalked or am I being crazy? You're being stalked. The second half of the book, so the second half of the book is eventful. when I read the first part of the second part, oh my god, when I read the end of the first part and the start of the second part, it was like, this is a young adult book, but if you have a weak stomach, I suggest not. You find out some information in the second part, and yeah, I'm really bad at explaining what the book is about without giving spoilers, because I just want to give spoilers because it's so good. Anyway, moving on again. Another series. That's the second book. Oh my gosh. I'm already feel like tearing up because this is such... I can never get over book 2 of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I can never get over these books either. Okay, some people say that it's a really boring book and it tells you exactly what happens at the start. Do I look like I care? Do I look like I care? Do I look... This one, okay? This one is about 2 childhood best friends who grow up together, basically, and they live right next to each other, and they basically are allowed to walk into each other's houses whenever they want, have the keys to each other's houses. And at some point by I think middle school, or which is basically I'm assuming it was when they were 11, so grade 6, grade 5, grade 6. They ended up something happened, and they ended up kind of drifting apart. Their friendship became weak, and they just kind of stopped talking to each other as much. They found different friend groups. They didn't, talk to each other as much. They were in classes and stuff, and I think they went to different schools at one point. And then in high school, they end up going to the same school. Okay, by the way, it's a boy and a girl. I forgot to mention that part. Female and a male. If you look at the cover, you can take a guess at what happens, basically. Basically the whole book is just going through Autumn, the main character's life, dealing with her current relationship with this guy called Jamie, who I don't know if I should hate him. I don't really hate him. He's not the worst, but he could have been better. He could have done better. And then by the end of the book, she starts reconnecting with Finn, or Phineas, or Finny, whatever you want to call him, her childhood best friend. After they graduate, she's reconnects with him, or before they graduate, I don't know, between the last few months of school and after graduation, she kind of connects with him, and they discover that they're in love. They discover that they're falling in love with each other. Jamie is out. Sorry, Jamie. And Finn has to he has a girlfriend at the time called Sylvie, so he has to, if he's falling in love with her, he needs to figure this out, figure that out. But yeah, by the end of the book, something tragic happens. That's all I'm going to say about that one. This one, this one was sad. Okay, this one was sad. I like teared up maybe a little bit. Look, I'm not an emotional person. I'm sensitive, but I'm not emotional. Okay. Well, I'm emotional, but I don't have emotion. I don't know. Books don't make me easily cry. Books don't easily make me cry. But this one. These books are not like these books are not 5 stars. I'm very bad at not being able to rate things high marks because I'm waiting for something to be amazing, which is probably a bad idea, but then nothing's going to be amazing anyway. I used to have like a 5-star book when I was like 13, but anyway, this one is like it's the second book to this one, and if I may say it, it is even more sad than the first book. We get 3 different perspectives in this one. Phineas Smith's, Jack, and Autumn again. And what happens is basically Phineas, his perspective is like a retelling of what happened in the last book, but from his point of view. Jack and Autumn, their perspectives kind of lead on after what happened. So it's basically Finney's perspective and then stuff that happens after if you know what happens. I feel like Autumn's perspective in this book, which is the last perspective, it was good. I enjoyed it. It gave a little extra to her character and what's going on. Jack's perspective, I almost cried. I'm sorry, I almost cried. His perspective was actually so sad. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, because I guess it's because also he's got a different perspective on everything, because he's not Phineas's childhood best friend. He's only known Finny for like 3 or 4 years at that point. And then it's just kind of an outsider point of view. Like, he's affected by what happened. It's in a different way. Like, he's not closely related or been around Phineas's family for years and years and years. So he has this like distance while trying to deal with what's happening, you know? And I feel like it just makes it even more sad. These are 2 amazing books. And I think if you're really into sad books, you should read these 2. Also, again, with the words, with the it's not massive font, but they have bigger font. So the chapters do not feel like you're reading 3 chapters every single chapter. They actually feel like 1 chapter. So these books took me like at most a week to get through each. Which for me, getting through a book in a week or less is actually amazing because I'm a slow reader. I'm a very slow reader, which is why I've only read 8 books last year. I usually end up reading 1 to 2 books per month. Sometimes it takes longer. Anyways, back to the books. They are all great. I love them all. Most of them would be maybe a 3 or 4 stars, which for me, a 3 or 4 stars is not like, oh my gosh, that was actually kind of boring. A 3 stars is like, I actually really enjoyed that. It's just, it was missing some things. Or a 4 stars is like, I really, really liked that. It just missed this thing, or it didn't quite have that, or it was their first book, so, you know, kind of thing. So that's the end of the video. If you want to see more videos like this, where I kind of tell you about my books that I have and kind of give you a bit of a view on them and what I liked about them, do tell me, leave a comment down below. I've been having trouble with my comments. It keeps turning off my comments. I don't know why YouTube does that. Anyway. Also, leave a comment if you wanted to see different videos, because I want to make some different videos. I don't have a very interesting life, so it's very difficult to make vlogs and anything like that, and I'm very shy, so I'd need to work on it a bit. I can try my best to kind of make like a mini vlog of just what I do while I'm at home, but yeah. Also, I will put to the side here, editing me, put to the side here, my Instagram and my TikTok. I have actually been posting on TikTok more recently. Like, I've actually recently been posting on TikTok a bit more. And you know, I'm actually going through what's it called? A brainstorm of ideas for TikTok. I don't know what is with it. I don't know what's going on. I usually sit there and go, oh my gosh, what do I post to TikTok? But all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I know exactly what to put. Like, I also think that I'm becoming a bit more confident posting on TikTok. I want to post more dances, but I'm just terrible. Anyway, that's off topic, and this video is saying 41 minutes long. So I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna leave the video here and say bye, and see you guys in the next one.